There you have it. The Royals going on to the divisional series, winning this one 2-1. 9 seasons. Rolling in the postseason now, getting that sweep over the Orioles, and Bobby Witt Jr. being a hero in not just Game 1, but also Game 2 with 2 RBI singles in the sweep. Seth Lugo entered 16-9 with a 3 ERA in his 33 starts this season. Finished this one 4 1/3 innings of work, 5 hits, 1 earned, 6 Ks, allowing the only run of the series to Cedric Mullins. Again, just 1 run for the Orioles throughout the series, and it wasn't quite enough as the Royals go on to win 2-1. And next up, a date with the Yankees and the ALDS. And we now bring in CBS Sports MLB analyst and former Miami Marlins GM David Samson. And David, these were 2 teams that finished the regular season, I'd say, in opposite directions. Typically, momentum carries over, but it wasn't quite that in this case. The Orioles closed September playing good baseball. They took 2 of 3 against the Yankees. They swept the Twins. Meanwhile, KC lost 9 of its last 13 to end the season. Struggled in September, but look, here we are. The Royals getting the series sweep and advancing to the ALDS, but I want to know what impressed you most with this Royals win.
I think it's hard to talk about anything without starting with the pitching. And as a team president, which I did for so long, you just go into the playoffs or you go into a series and you just say to yourself, and you call your GM in the office, what do we do to win? And he'll say, pitching and defense. You need to get that pitching. And in a short series like this, look what you can do with a lineup like the Orioles. We saw it last year when the Dodgers got swept out of the playoffs by the Diamondbacks. It can happen, and it can happen in a hurry. And that's what happened here to Baltimore. They lost last year, got swept by the eventual World Series champion Rangers, who no one thought was going to win the World Series. This year, they're home to Kansas City, and before you can blink an eye, they basically got shut out for 2 games other than a solo shot by Mullins here in Game 2. So when I think about the Orioles, and we're going to focus on their losing streak, they've lost 10 in a row over 10 years. It's really only the same guys for 5 of those 10 losses. The previous teams, obviously different players, so those streaks are pretty tough to look at in that way. But if you're the Orioles, it's really hard to do anything other than be upset and despondent. But when you take a step back, you realize that you've got a foundation for greatness. And when you're the Royals, you lose 106 games, you come back, and now you're in the division series, and now every other team who's home, they've got the owner calling them and saying, hey, why can't we do what the Royals just did?
And what they were able to do, I mean, we got to give a lot of credit to Bobby Witt Jr. and what he accomplished in these 2 games, but just how much of a game changer and how special has he been in this series, and how do you see him building on that going forward now?
Well, Bobby Witt is being paid as though he's one of the best players in the league, which is a great coincidence because he is one of the best players in the league. He can hurt you defensively. He can hurt you with his speed. He can hurt you with his bat. He has this aura of a veteran, which is amazing when you think about how old he is. And the play that he had today when he legged out a base hit, when he beat the throw, those are the little things that are going to win you games. And when you're playing a premium position like he is, and you're talking about shortstop, and the Orioles don't have a bad one either in Gunnar Henderson, obviously, but you look at what that means to a team, but then you match it with a veteran like their catcher, Sal Perez, who's been around forever. Put great youth with aging players who know how to be leaders, with lockdown bullpens, and you got yourself a winner.
You talk about the aura of a veteran and how much he's getting paid. It makes it all worth it when you are one of the big reasons this team is moving on. But I want to go back to the other side. What's next for this Orioles team? Because they're going to start looking ahead to the offseason. Corbin Burns is a free agent this year, as is Anthony Santander. But what's their first order of business looking ahead?
KC and CO. So important for them to keep calm and carry on. They've got a new owner right now, and the new owner just had a season where he thought that they were going to produce in the playoffs, and now he's sitting there in his home stadium. He's got to drive home, David Rubenstein, and say, what just happened? What do I do? They did acquire Corbin Burns. He's going to feel the need to re-sign him at any amount. You've got to be careful here. You've got your core. You've got them set up, but they're going to start getting older. They're going to start getting into arbitration. So you really need your GM to focus you on what your payroll is going to look like over the next 3, 4, and 5 years. So what they do this offseason is so important that it's not a knee-jerk reaction to this 2-game losing streak that they just had at a terrible time.
All right, let's go back to those Royals. They have a date with the American League's 1-seeded Yankees, who actually didn't have to wait too long for this thing to play out. But Kansas City going 2-5 against the Yanks in the regular season. They were outscored 42-24. But hey, this is an all-new ball game as we're entering the postseason. How do you see this series playing out?
I'm just smiling at the fact that there's so many teams in the AL Central that we're talking about right now. It's not exactly what anyone would have predicted, but here we are, and none of them are the Twins, might I add. If you're the Yankees, you got to be very careful. You do not want to be complacent. You probably were getting yourself psyched up, and you were focusing your scouts on the Orioles. That said, you've got the Royals coming to town Saturday, and if you are the offense, if you're Soto and Judge, you don't want to take this pitching staff for granted by any stretch. And if you are the Yankees, you've got to hope that Cole and Rodon can carry you, because when I compare pitching staffs and Regan's and Lugo versus Cole and Rodon, who's more expensive? The Yankees. Who may be a better 1-2 punch? Can you imagine that it's either even or a slight advantage to the Royals? That said, if the Yankees can get offense, which is hard to come by in the playoffs, obviously they will be the big favorite and they'll be able to win 3 out of 5 games.
Oh, and this is just getting me excited because you're thinking about it. You go back to Juan Soto playing in the postseason for the Nationals back in 2019, and then you got to think about it. I know there's a lot of talk about Aaron Judge, but he doesn't have great postseason numbers. You talk about advantage and what it could be for the Royals in this one. It's certainly going to make for one heck of a series. David Samson, as always, thanks so much for the insight. And coming to you this way, ALDS beginning Saturday, 6:38 Eastern. Well, the Yankees win the regular season series 5-2. Royals, meanwhile, won their last playoff series, meaning 3-0. That was in the 1980 ALCS. I don't even think that a good amount, probably the entire team, might not even have been born then. Yankees, though, won 3 of 4 playoff series against the Royals all time, but it's both of these teams' first meeting in the ALDS. And we can catch it all. That begins on Saturday.